Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back today for another wonderful tutorial. Happy New Year to everyone. I welcome all my new subscribers and my old subscribers. I appreciate you all. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to draft this beautiful corset top with a Basque waistline. It's a requested video from one of my subscribers on Instagram. So without wasting time, we are going to dive into this tutorial. Let's get started. To draft the corset with a basque, you need your basic bodice block, which I have here. So I have my shoulder line, and now from my shoulder line to chest line is 9 inches. From shoulder to waistline is 17 inches, and that's what I marked here. Now I'm going to measure the rest of the measurements you need. Now I'm marking my shoulder to bust point, which is 11 inches, and shoulder to under bust, which is 14 inches. And now I am going to mark that out. Okay, once you mark that out, I'll label my bust point and my under bust line. The next thing I'm going to do is add the basque line. So from the waistline, I am going to add an additional 5 inches, or you can use 4 inches depending on your preference, but I'm using 5 inches. So I will measure that here, and then I'll add 1.5 inches as my seam allowance. Then I'll mark it out. And then I'll label my basque line and then my seam allowance. Now the next thing I'm going to do is mark out the upper measurements. I am going to use 3 inches by 3 inches for the neckline. So I mark out 3 inches in width and 3 inches in length. So I'm marking this out in case you make your top with a yoke. So this will be our yoke. And so watch closely as I'm drafting it. Okay, so once I mark the 3 inches by 3 inches for my neck width and neck depth, I will use my French curve and create the neckline. Now after that, on the armhole line, I am going to go down by 1 inch, and then I will connect it to the 3 inches on the neckline, and this is the shoulder slope. Okay, so after that I will measure what I have left. I have 8 inches left. I will divide that into 2. That gives me 4. And for this is the front bodice that we are drafting, so I will go in on that 4 inches by 1/2 inch in order to create the front armhole curve. Now on the chest line, I will divide my bust by 4 inches, which is 9.5, and that's what I just marked there. And then once I mark that, I am going to use my French curve and connect all the lines to create the armhole curve. Okay, just like that. That's the armhole curve. All right, so now we are going to create the cup, the corset cup. So I will divide my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 8 inches. I divide it into 2, and that's 4. I will place that measurement on the bust point line and also on the chest line. I will also mark the same on the under bust line and waistline. Okay, and once I finish with that, I am going to use my ruler and connect the line all the way down. Okay, now I am going to measure the distance between the under bust line and waistline. and I have 3 inches. I will divide that 3 inches into 2, and that's a 1.5 inches. So I'm going to mark it on the under bust line on each side. So I'll mark 1.5 inches on each side of the under bust line and also on the waistline. So this is to contour our cup. Okay, so make sure you measure what you have between your under bust line and the waistline, okay? And that's what you're going to use, you know, to contour your cup. So once I mark that out, I'm going to use my French curve like this, and then I will connect the lines. And then I'll draw the rest of the line down. Okay, so this is what we have so far. And now on the chest line, I'm going to go up by 1/2 inch. And you can go up by 1 inch if you prefer. If you don't want to show too much cleavage, you can go up by 1 inch. But mine, I want it to be a little bit down. So I'm going up by 1/2 inch. And I will square that line. This will now represent my upper bust line. Okay, so I'll label that as my upper bust line, and then I'll extend the line to meet the nipple to nipple line. Okay, now we're going to contour the cup on that side as well. So on the line that goes towards the center front, I am going to take out 0.5 inches for the dot, and then on the side that goes to the armhole, I will take out 1.5 inches. Okay, so I will be taking a total of 2 inches for the dot on that line. Okay, so on the side of the center front, to take out 0.5 inch from that side, and on the side that goes towards the armhole, take out 1.5 inches. And now I am going to use my ruler to connect the lines. I use my French curve. I connect the lines. Okay, so once I finish that, I measure what I have, the dot that I have, and on the side of the armhole, the line is is longer. So I'm going to extend that for the dot on going towards the center front. So that's what I did. I added 0.5 inches there, and I extended it so there won't be any shortage. Okay, and then I connected the lines. So now the next thing that I'm going to do is on the chest line, I'll go in by 0.5 inch, and also on the bust point, I'll go in by 0.5 inch, and I'll extend that line down, and then I'll connect it to the under bust line. I'm sorry I lost the footage where I was connecting all the lines, but please watch closely what I'm doing for this side of the cup, and it's all the same concept. So I measure what I have between the bust line and the under bust line. I have 3 inches. Now I'm going to add 1/2 inch, and I'll place that measurement on the bust point line. And then on the chest line, I will go out a little by 1/2 inch, which I'm marking right there. So now I will use my ruler, and I connect it down to the 3.5 inches on the bust point line, like so. Then I will use my French curve, and I will connect the rest of the line to the under bust line to create my cup. Sorry. So that's exactly what I did for the other cup before I lost the footage. So it's totally the same concept, okay? And once I finish with that, I'll use my French curve like so, and then I will close up the cup like this, okay? And now for this dot, I will just use lightly draw a curve to cover that up like so. And basically I've created the yoke. So I'm going to just blend in that the cup to meet the armhole like so. All right. Okay, so now the next thing that we're going to do, I'm going to place my circumferences. And now on my waistline, I'm dividing my waist by 4, which is 8.5 inches, and I'll mark it. And then I am taking out 3 inches as my dart, so I'll add that 3 inches back. And I already marked my bust circumferences, so I measure what I have, how many that I'm taking out, which is 2 inches. I will place that back to my measurement, then I will add 2 inches as my seam allowance, and then on the waistline I'll add this 2 inches again as my allowance. All right, and then once I finish with that, I will use my ruler and connect all the lines. Right, so this is the seam allowance, and then I'll mark the upper bodice as the yoke in case you're making your top with a yoke. All right, okay, now I am going to cut out the pattern. I will cut out the yoke first. And now I'm going to cut out the cup. So before continuing further to cut, I am going to label the cup so I won't be confused when I go to cut it out and sew. So I'll label my center front. I will label the cup towards the center front as the center front. And then I label the side. I label the cups that go towards the side as side front. So I label center front 1, center front 2, and I also label center side 1 and center side 2, so I know where to connect it. So it's very important that you label it accordingly so that you won't be confused when you go to sew them. All right. And then I'm going to cut the rest of the pattern. Okay, so this is what it looks like once you finish cutting it out. And you can, as you can see, everything matches together. All right. So like I said, you can make this top without the yoke. It's totally up to you. So the one that I am making, I am not going to use any yoke on it. So this is the front, what it looks like. So I am going to now create the basque waistline. So I'm going to take these out. Now place the center front and the side together like so. So make sure you place it to align properly. And this is the waistline, and this line is the basque line. And now on the waistline, I am going to come down by 1/2 inch. Come down by 1/2 inch from the waistline, because you're not going to draft your basque directly on your waistline because it will have a shortage when you go to sew it. And then on the basque line towards the center front, I also came down by 1/2 inch. Then I will connect those lines together. So connect it like so. See? So make sure you come down by 1/2 inch on the from the waistline and also from the basque line. You can also create a curve if you have a hip curve, and you can also create a curve, depends on you. So I'm not going to cut out my basque as of yet. I'm going to draft the back. So this is my back piece. I have my basic bodice block. I have the basic bodice block for the back. So I have from my shoulder line to my chest line, which is 9 inches, and shoulder to my waistline, which is 17 inches. And I'm going to label that. So now for the neckline of the back, I used 3 inches by 1.5 inches, but you can totally use a different neckline. It's up to you. That's if you're going to sew your top with the yoke. Okay, so I really don't need the yoke for what I'm making. All right, so I'm just going to, and then I created the armhole curve as well. On the chest line, I divided my bust measurement into 4 and I placed that measurement there. Now this line represents the nipple to nipple line, which is 4 inches. All right, and now on the waistline, we're going to take out the waist dot. I am using 0.5 inches on each side of the dot. And then on the chest line, I will take out 1/4 inch for the dot. So you're going to share your 1/4 inch between the lines. And then I'll connect it like so. All right, so basically the back is done. The back is very easy to draft. All right, so now I am not using the yoke like I said, so I will bring my front side piece. I will match up the waistline and the chest line, as you can see me doing, and as you can see, it matches the nipple to nipple line. Okay, so I'm just going to mark out this line so that I don't need to add any extra allowances when I cut it out. Okay, I hope you guys can understand. So that's what I just did here. I am going to connect the lines together. Like I said, I will not be using the yoke for the style that I am making. Okay, so once I finish with that, I am basically done with the back, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. So I'll cut out the yoke first. Like I said, if you're making yours with a yoke, so you can design any neckline that you want, but this is just for illustration purposes because I will not be using the yoke for the style that I am making. All right, so I am just going to cut this out. Okay, so now as you can see, I did not add any zipper allowance, but you can add your zipper allowance when you are ready to sew. The reason I did not add the zipper allowance is because some people prefer to make their corset top with a string in the back. Okay, so keep that in mind. When you are cutting yours, you can add a zipper allowance or the space where you will put the string if that's what you prefer to do. All right, so I'm just going to cut out the rest of the pattern, and this is what it looks like at the end of the day. You have your yoke, and then you have your the corset for the back. All right, and this is the front. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and now cut out my basque line. So just cut along the line that we made earlier, and that's what I'm doing right here. Okay, if you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe to my channel, like and share this video with your friends, because sharing is caring. Okay, so at the end of the day, this is what we have. We have our front pieces, patterns, and also the back. All right, And now if you're going to make this, make sure that you add seam allowances all around when you cut it out. So I'm just quickly showing you what I did. I cut it out and I added my seam, half an inch seam allowance all around it. So this has been this is the end of this tutorial. I hope it's helpful to you, and if it has, please like, share my videos, subscribe if you haven't done so, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.